one of the ingestion that we have done is from API to bring the data from the geocoding, that's basically population and the location information data. We try to ingest from the API. We already developed the code for that one. I would like to show you the some modifications how to do that in that code. Okay, this is the bronze layer geocoding data ingestion. We are calling the API, and this API is returning the response in the JSON format, and we are getting that JSON data and we are converting that into the data frame. Then we are ingesting into our bronze layer data. We have done it for only one market. I think a week or a week before class we have done that one. In the bronze layer we were ingesting this geocoding data into the data lake. We ingested for only one market, but obviously we have got too many market names are there. So this code don't support for ingesting the data from multiple market names, because the market name here is hard coded. Whoever has done the ADF code, we know that this is the parameter driven pipeline in the ADF. We were storing all of the market names in one of the metadata file, and the ADF pipeline read this metadata file and then pass it into the API URL inside the ADF. We need to simulate the same thing in Databricks as well. Even we can use the same metadata file, because we already created how we need to create this metadata file. We have covered in the ADF. We manually created this metadata file in fact. So we listed down all of the market names that we are interested in, and we created the metadata file. So the bronze layer ingestion code that we have done, the hard coded with one specific market name, this need to be parameterized inside the Databricks. Basically, we need to read this metadata file inside the Databricks. From that metadata file, we need to extract this market name alone, and then we need to pass that market name as a dynamic value inside this API URL call. So this is one of the common requirement. You need to get the value from one data frame and extract some specific column name from the data frame and pass that column value as a parameter to the another data frame reader or writer. These type of the requirements are little common. So the first task we need to do is that we need to read this metadata file inside the Databricks. Probably I'll start the cluster so that when we develop the code we can able to execute it directly. So I think reasonably you all can able to follow it. If you can't able to follow it, you can tell me. So some of the folder names that we already given, I will copy paste it quickly, develop the code, and you can also able to do it, because the folder location paths follow some unconventional file format here. So if one time you developed it, when you are reading from some other container, copy that folder path and do the necessary changes there. It will be quick for you to develop the code. This time I do not want to read it from data lakehouse. I want to read this metadata file. It is existing inside the ADF metadata container. So I need to read it from there. So I am going to change this path to the metadata geocoding path, and this is actually ADF hyphen metadata. That is my container name. And my storage account is the same storage account name, and this bronze and geocoding, all these folders I don't need. Under the ADF metadata folder, this is my file name. We didn't create any subfolders there, just this is the file name. So I'm straight away giving my file name. So now I need to read this file inside the Databricks. Always the assigning the variable values, you could keep it in the one cell. Don't try to read it straight away from there. That is some modularity in the code. Different people apply different style. Actually, I try to assign somewhere, then after assigning I don't use it. I don't do any coding here. If any more assignments needed, probably I will use this cell, and I don't directly write the reader or writer there actually, but it's up to you. So now we need to read this metadata file. The purpose of reading this metadata file is we need to traverse through all of this market name and pass those market name in the API URL and extract the specific geocoding data from that API URL and store it inside our branch layer, because previously we have stored only one market name, location details. Okay, then now I'm coming back to here. Now you will be slowly familiar with your reader and writer. At least you should be familiar with your reader and writer now. So I'm going to read the metadata market names data frame equal to, it's going to be standard spark read dot json of this path, and quickly display that one as well, so that you can able to view that the data is coming from the metadata file properly displayed there. So display of metadata market name data frame. I hope our cluster has started. Yes, I think it should start to run now. You can execute your path first, then you are reading that as a data frame next, and we are trying to display it. From this data frame, we are not interested in the remaining container name and the folder names and all. We are interested in the market name in this instance. That is the value we are interested in. So how we can get that market name, we'll be shortly seeing it. So hopefully this will read that file and display the data properly. Yeah, it is able to read the metadata file and it is perfectly finding the column names, 3 column names in that file, and displaying the values properly. Now my objective is extracting only this market name column value from this data frame and pass that value as a parameter to my API URL, so that I could able to dynamically loop through for all of the market names, and I can able to get all of the geolocation details for all of the markets that is needed for us actually. In fact, that's why we are doing all of this. Okay, to some extent we know that the data frame it stores the value inside the array values. Okay, it's basically any data frame. Our representation is the data is stored inside the array. Inside the array, it will create, if single column is there, each array element will have only one column value. If multiple columns are there, it will be stored as a row of column name, comma, row of column name, the list of column names. This is all the Databricks specific terminologies. Data frame values are always represented in the arrays. If anything you read from the data frame, it internally stores in the array format. So if from this inside array, I need to get only this market name. This is my source data frame. Based on what we have read so far, probably we can try a couple of the options. Okay, I want to extract only the market name from this data frame. That is my first objective, because that's all I needed to form my API URL dynamically. Okay, so based on what we have read so far, probably we can try one of the option. I would like to introduce some of the internals here. Okay, and ultimately what we are trying to do is that our data is stored as a column inside the data frame, PySpark data frame. I would like to convert this column into the standard default Python string variable. Okay, that is the difference. This is inside the data frame. I would like to extract this value and I need to store that as a standard Python variable. That's all I'm trying to do here. So we'll, based on what we have seen so far, okay, we try to apply our learning here. If you want to select only the specific column names from the data frame, we can use the select function on top of the data frame, and you can pass the specific column name. This is the one of the way we can able to write it, read it. Now I'm going to display this market name. You see that how the value is displayed here. It is not yet displayed in the standard Python string variable. Still it is in the array format. It will display with, okay, market name is straight away coming in the array variable. I think that is really very good. This is all I want. My understanding was little bit different. Okay, sorry about that. It is coming directly market name PySpark data frame equal to market name string. I try to directly assign this market name value to the API. Let me see. I little doubtful. I thought it will give them row of market name here, but it has given properly the market name and the string value here actually. Let me see actually. So our market name, we have extracted it from the data frame now. Forget about some of them. I'm saying that I didn't expect this result. So it seems it's working fine actually. From the data frame, if you select the specific column name, if you assign that into one of them Python variable, it is assigning properly. But it's basically now again actually multiple values are there. If you want to, probably if you need to identify each you need to traverse through each of the individual market names. For market in, I think probably now I will get the, okay, I'm trying to traverse through this market name. The market name is list of values from the data frame. I need to traverse through individual market names inside this market name list. So I'm using the standard Python for loop for, this is my variable in my array list. Okay, I'm trying to print this market now. Let me see what it happened actually. Okay, so I'm instead of print market, I am going to call this specific API URL shortly, but I would like to see properly the market names is coming in the proper string. So if you look at it, it is not the Python variable, it's still a data frame variable. It's saying that column of market name, it's not the Python string variable. That's what I was expecting previously as well. But when I straight away print the print market name, it printed the array actually. It didn't print the Python string variable. The values inside that market name, it just displayed as a array straight away. Okay. So if you want to, I take this one. Previously we try to extract the market name values from there. Still it is a data frame market name string. So anywhere displayed it. Did I display last time? One sec guys, I'm a little confused here. It was displaying everything in the market name previously properly. Okay, now again it's displaying the market name as a data frame. Okay, if you look at it, I didn't read this syntax properly. It is still displaying it as a data frame because of the display function. It's displaying all of the values in the data frame. This is nothing different from displaying the entire data frame. Here we are displaying the entire data frame. All of the columns are displayed. Here we selected only the market name from the data frame and assigned to the another variable. Again here it's displaying in the data frame format. The data frame column values I can't directly pass as a string value to calling this API. I need to convert this into the Python standard string variable. Then only I could able to pass it as a value in this API URL. For example, if I try to do that one, probably even it will throw the error. So I'm saying that source code URL equal to the first part of the API don't change until search name equal to, only the market name will change. So in the Python to concatenate the two strings, we can use the plus symbol. So I'm trying to pass this market name value here instead of the actual market name, and the remaining part don't change, it's all going to be same. and I try to pass this one, and we will try to print this one before going to the actual request. We try to print this one. You will see that how the URL will be displayed here, so that you will get the idea about what we are trying to do. Can only concatenate string, not data frame, because this market name is in the data frame format. Still it is a data frame data type, it's not the Python string variable. Why I am focusing here this much is, you end up while processing the data frames, either you need to convert the standard file into the data frame, or data frame into the standard string variable as well, some cases, because not only we create one data frame, we will use the output of the one data frame in the as a input to the another data frame as well. That is the case here coming here. That's why I am trying to focus this one. Okay, so we need to find a way to selecting the market name from the data frame, but when it will be assigned to the variable, it need to come out of the data frame, it need to be the standard Python string variable. That's all we are trying to do it, but it's again two-step process. Okay, some people can argue that, okay, some people can argue that this can be done in Python very easily. Okay, if you read this file as a standard Python file library, input output file library, then you can loop it through, it will work fine. But that will work for smaller data sets. Okay, when the data, we will be dealing with larger data sets, and if you write the standard Python code, it won't be executed in the PySpark compute cluster. It will be executed in the standard Python compiler as well. So always deal with the data frame. Any data you are dealing inside the data frames, you need to find a way to convert that into the data frame, and also reading from the data frame, convert that into the standard Python variable also you do with the data frame. The simple rule, thumb up rule is that always create the data frame and work on the data frame. Some of the values on the data frame need to be converted into the standard Python variable. Try to extract it from data frame. Don't try to use the standard Python variables. So as I said, data frame is always stored inside the array. All of the values stored in the data frame is inside the array. So what I am going to do is that from this data frame, okay, first I am going to create the standard Python array. Okay, for that what I am going to do is that, okay, it is the standard Python notation as well. Okay, it's little strange syntax. Hopefully you could able to follow it. Market name source of, okay, this is the, if you recall our Python way of working, probably I'll take this one out. This is the way, if you want to extract a specific element value in the array, this is the notation we follow. Okay, this is the notation we follow. Okay, so we are going to extract the array value inside the data frame. Okay, and that is existing multiple times. So what I am going to do here is, I am invoking a for loop. Okay, this market name source in, okay, this is very delicate type of the syntax, but more and more you will use when we are processing the huge amount of the data. You need to loop it through this one. So this is all our own defined variables here. Okay, we didn't refer the original data frame now, and now only I am going to refer the original data frame for market name in. From this data frame, we are going to use the function called collect. Okay, collect will collect all of the values stored inside this data frame. That is the one of the action in the Spark. So this one, if I display this one without assigning to any of the data frame variables, if I straight away display this value, it will display all of the values in this data frame. I am looping through each of the value coming from this data frame array. And from that loop, outside that loop, I am extracting only the market names. As more than one market name is existing, this for loop will return more than one market name in the array. So I am trying to store that in the array variable. Otherwise, it will say that I can't able to store this into this variable. Okay, so this is the one-step process. Now what we have done is, we have converted this market name value inside the data frame into the standard Python array. Okay, if I probably run this one, let me say it is saying that it's the market name list is the Python array. Okay, it didn't say anything, but if I print this one now, you can able to see that one. It is a standard Python array. Now it's not a data frame anymore. If you look at it, it is displaying in the standard Python array. It didn't mention any reference for the data frame this point in time. Okay, this syntax slowly come to you. Okay, don't worry too much about it. But if you can understand what is happening inside is, we are collecting all of the values from the data frame and we are looping through each of these values using the for loop. And from this output of this for loop, we are extracting only this market name. That's all we are trying to do. As more than one market name is there, we are storing entire thing into the array. And now if you need to traverse through individual market name from this array, the standard for loop again will work. Okay, for market name in market name list, that is the array. This is the one of the standard way of traversing through the array in the Python. Now if I print the market name, now market name value became a string here. Actually, it's not the array. Look at it, slightly continuously changed it. So it is not displaying the market name values in the array now. It's displaying in the individual market name values. Now I can use this market name in this source geocoding URL. As it is coming inside the for loop, I don't want to put it here. I'm going to bring everything inside this for loop because the market names are dynamically available inside only in this for loop scope. So what we are going to do is that inside this for loop, we are going to do entire coding that we previously we have done to traverse through market name and finding the geocoding. So this source geocoding URL, first of all, I'm going to bring it into here. So now this first part of the URL won't change. The market name value will be replaced by the dynamic value coming from the output of this for loop, and the remaining values looks okay. Okay, now my source geocoding part is done. The next part is, after probably we can print one time before going further so that you can clearly able to see it. Basically, we are simplifying our branch layer ingestion code into one for loop. It will run through for the entire market names and it will write it into the data lake storage account. So hopefully it will be properly forming the, if you look at it, it's forming the URL for every market name here without any problem, and it is creating the all the URLs that we need. So all we need to do now here is bringing the entire code that we have written in the separate cells. We are going to do it inside this for loop, and it automatically traverses through for each of the market name, and it will extract the API, and it will also write the data into the data lake storage account. So all I'm doing here is the first one is requesting this URL to get the response for this specific market name geolocation data. The next one is we are converting that into the actual JSON format inside the Python. Then we are converting that into the array of JSON, because before converting any external data into the data frame, first you need to convert that into the array value. This is the existing coding only. We have already done it. Then you need to use the Spark context to parallelize your code. ultimately I'm not too much explaining it here, but everything that we have done it, that's what we are doing it here. So we read that as a RDD. Probably we try to display this one. Let me see, so that each market name values, how it's coming through, so that before writing it we can get the clear idea about it. Let me see, we can run the code until this point. The request is not defined because I didn't run the external library import request and import JSON. I will run it again and I will be running this one here. So I want you to see the response coming for, there will be so many too many jobs, okay, because it's going through each of the market name, it's creating the response, and sorry about that one. Anyhow, we will leave that one. Actually, in the meantime, it's doing it. We will copy paste the remaining code as well. So the right folder path is here. I will be copying branch geocoding config folder path. As I said, any variable value assignments, always do it at the beginning of the code and use one cell, so that any value changes, you do not need to go through the entire pipeline to change it. There are around, I think we got too many markets, around 1,000 markets. Should be fine actually. So we are going to write it for each of the market values here. Right, probably mode is going to be append, because we are writing multiple market name data into the same folder now. So previously we didn't give this one because we didn't worry about it. So it will read through one market name and it will form the API URL and send the API request to that website and get the data in the JSON format, convert that JSON format into the array, and that array we are parallelizing to convert into the Spark data frame, then reading that as a Spark data frame, and then writing that Spark data frame into the our branch layer folder.